You ever get tired of watching the same old edgy high school teen gather a harem of hot anime waifus without trying? I getcha, sometimes you just want something a bit deeper and more profound. Well, if Yakuza boyfriends or shonen sports ain't your thing, then I think I have just the perfect anime for you. Kowloon Generic Romance is an anime that at first masquerades as a sort of office romance type, but as you get deeper into just the first episode, you'll quickly realize that this rabbit hole goes down many more levels. From sci-fi phenomena to dramatic identity crises, Reiko Kojirai's experience in Kowloon is nothing short of a romantic cruise in a river of intrigue. So let's dive into why exactly this generic romance is worth your watch.
どこかでお茶でもしますか? 無理にとは言いませんけど。
A city of nostalgia, a city of love. Immediately as you click on the title on Netflix, the first thing that comes to mind has to be Kowloon. I mean, it's literally in the title after all. Taking place within the legendary walled city of Kowloon, it doesn't just serve as a setting but as an ever-present character. A side character to be precise. Instead of the usual wide-angle overlooking views, we get a lot of tighter, more personal shots, focusing on the main characters traversing the world. Worn walls and old facades, the city definitely feels like a city reaching its due date.
工藤さんには時々感じます。 懐かしさ。
Kowloon, though, isn't just the walls that make it up. It's the people who live in it and go about their mundane lives. And this isn't just for show. The very heart of the series itself lies in this humanity. As the characters themselves acknowledge, Kowloon is a nostalgia, and every bit of scenery and character interaction is meant to reinforce this idea. That being said, while the city is ever present in the dialogue between characters, it is a curious thing how little runtime is spent on displaying the titular city. After all, with the main characters constantly talking about how nostalgic it all is, you'd think we'd at least see a wider look at what it actually is. So, is this a mistake perhaps? Well, I don't think so. The series is fraught with mystery, and I wouldn't be surprised if the city itself is later revealed to be a huge part of it all. And if there is something that hasn't shied away from being on frame, it's the metal floating object high in the sky. The very thing that promises a repository for human memory. That just sounds like a pretty twisted version of nostalgia if I've ever seen one. A good way to start. But before we go any further with what the series does right, let's take a look at how it starts. For me, this is easily one of the most brilliant first episodes of anime I've seen in a while. It does everything it needs to do, highlighting the utter beauty Reiko has and showcasing a stereotypical office romance, all while building up the value of Kowloon. And let's not forget the simmering intrigue that's sprinkled throughout. Going back to Reiko, she is just one real hottie. Maybe even a waifu of the year contender for some. Nevertheless, we can thank Arvo Animation for understanding the task at hand and giving her the extra attention needed as she graces our screen. Sure, there are many more fan service shots down the road, but seeing her smoking figure in the decrepit apartment backdrop just does a lot in titillating the senses. And you know, it does a lot in setting up the Kowloon vibe too, I'm sure. I guess you can say Reiko's figure is synonymous with the small beautiful sights and moments you can find littered around Kowloon. The prized nostalgia kept by the city is just another form of love after all, and what better to love than a hot anime waifu with glasses? But, oh yeah, remember the floating thing in the sky? Yeah, that's something called Terra. Some words and opinions about it are mentioned in the episode too, which I think helps further the case on how important it'll play a factor later on. But for me, the real seed of intrigue in this episode is Reiko's relationship with Hajime. I get it's supposed to be something like the stereotypical office romance, but there is something about the distance between the two that was a bit fishy. Sure, the two have a bit of a clash in personality like most anime couples, but there were certain moments where Hajime was clearly being a bit too distant. I mean, come on, I know we gotta get some cool monologues going, but you're spending time with a real baddie here. Let's focus up. The strangest moment though came during their little chat on the rooftop with Hajime in a deep trance as if looking for something in Reiko's eyes. Of course, this all culminates with a pretty steamy and out-of-pocket moment where Hajime just starts making out with her while half asleep. Yeah, I can't say I expected this graphic level of lovey-doveyness. Not too typical for a romance, I suppose, but it does do a fine job of getting my fan service heart pumping.
悪い間違えた
And while the episode looks like it's about to end in a funky rom-com note, we get hit with the mother of all intrigues as we find out things may not be what they seem. You wanna know something else intriguing? Bringing tremendous help to the channel is just one click away, so if you can, hit that super thanks button down below. What is love?
工藤君って年上に可愛がられるタイプよねって私が言ったの。
By now, you must already be thinking this series is way more on the side of mystery than romance. And honestly, you won't really be wrong in that belief. Nevertheless, the majority of your time watching will still be directed towards Hajime and Reiko's relationship. And that's just a fine thing, especially since Reiko is at her hottest when she's around Hajime. While Kowloon generic romance definitely dwells in the aspect of romance, it's in its tackling of mystery that I think most fans will find their home. As we discussed earlier, Reiko discovers that Hajime was in a relationship with a girl. Weird thing is that girl seems to be Reiko herself, and she doesn't remember any of it. And so the first chunk of the anime focuses a lot on Reiko finding her peace with the fact that she may very well be living someone else's life. The romance aspect then isn't just about whether or not Hajime and Reiko will end up together. It's more about whether Hajime will ever see Reiko for who she actually is. The series drips in flashback scenes of the old Reiko and her time with Hajime, showing us exactly why Hajime is having a hard time fully appreciating the current Reiko.
追加ごちそうさん
Parallel to us watching Reiko falling deeper in love with Hajime, we see the Hajime of old falling in love with the old Reiko, putting into question the real meaning of love and the value of nostalgia. When is it time to let go? When should you choose to move on and love again? All these questions, while tied to Reiko's circumstance, brilliantly illustrate a relationship to our own places of nostalgia. And in this anime's case, our nostalgia towards Kowloon. While the steamy scenes between Reiko and Hajime are plenty enough to get your head dizzy, the mystery is what mixes it all together to make good anime. The past is a searing death.
また来てくださいね。
If we haven't discussed enough already, while most of the series touches upon Reiko's troubled romance and Hajime's nostalgic past, the main shot of every episode comes during dramatic revelations. As the mysteries start to unravel and connect all together, we as an audience are always left puzzled and intrigued as the episode fades to black. Except that one time it was literally a JoJo ending. That was pretty funny. But with nothing left but forums to comfort ourselves, we can only wait until the next episode finally comes and clears everything up. Only for it to finally come and leave us with just as many questions as before. Taking a step back then, we can use some time throughout the week to reflect on the main idea that stretches across the series: identity. Of course, as we already alluded to, Reiko is the frontline combatant in this puzzling arena. Constantly faced with her past self's value to Hajime, she's constantly in a push and pull relationship with how she wants to proceed with her own life. But I think the best support for this narrative so far has to be Yaome. Somewhat clumsily introduced at the start as just another noisy neighbor, Yaome quickly became the main embodiment of Reiko's voice to embrace her current self.
今日あなたにこのタルトを出せること嬉しく思うよ。
Pushing this further, we later learn that Yaome herself is running from her own identity crisis, as she was previously in the shadow of her mother's fame and glory. Now, some may say this is all quite a storybook coincidence, but whatever the case may be, the once one-dimensional relationship between the two is now symbiotically mutual. I also really love how Yaome's appearance changes from being by her lonesome in her room to being outside with Reiko. Great visual storytelling right there. Considering this is only early on in the series too, I'm excited to find out alongside with all of you just how much the side characters in this series will develop. I mean, besides Yaome, Dr. Hebenuma is also a pretty interesting character to watch out for. Who can forget how he nonchalantly kissed Reiko with his little reptilian tongue? Like, what the hell even was that?
いつでも歓迎しますよ
Equally as strange, why is he in literal bed with a waiter Reiko and Hajime are acquainted with? See what I mean about intrigue yet? If you haven't already, I hope this video convinces you to give this not-so-generic romance a shot. And I hope this video also convinces you to give this channel a shot as well. So do smash that like button and make sure to subscribe and share if you want to see more awesome content like this one. And make sure to join the comments too if you want in on the intrigue and what you thought of today's video. What did you think of Kowloon generic romance? Is Reiko waifu of the year in your eyes? We're looking forward to finding out. As always, thanks for watching. We'll be seeing you again next time.